little bit different setting for the North Wright County Today podcast today, but we are here with you. We're going to get to our interview with Lena Lee Wagner here in a little bit. As I mentioned on last week's podcast, but we'll kind of reintroduce her now. Speaking of introductions, this is Mike Schoemer here. How you doing? Founder, editor, former Ink Stain Wretch, producer of the North Wright County Today podcast. I gave Sam and Nick a week off, so we're not in studio today. We're at the house. I'm just coming to you from my computer. So we're just going to run through a few things before we get to a cool little call with Elena, just some background on her and how she's involved in the latest production of Frozen at the Children's Theater. So you can go take your kids, take the family, check out something local or something big featuring somebody local, part of the ensemble. So we're super excited that Children's Theater reached out to us, let us know about Elena, and we were able to catch up with her. As always, North Wright County Today, the podcast is brought to you by Solutions Counseling. We appreciate Craig Renz and hope you check out Solutions. Mental health, as we've said, is just as important as your physical health. So check out Solutions over in St. Michael or getcounseling.org. They can set you up with some virtual appointments if that's your jam, or you can go right to the location there off 241 in St. Michael off Thielen Drive and meet with a counselor and get the mental help you need for anything from family issues to whatever you got going on. North Wright County Today, the podcast, is also brought to you by our friends at Stellus Health. We're going to have a bunch of new ads popping up on the website for those guys. Stellus Health has a great website, stellushealth.com, where you can check out their blogs featuring professionals. They also have a podcast that will take you kind of behind the scenes on some of the things you can do for your physical health. Stellus also has everything for you from, physicians who can help you out, pediatricians for the kids, podiatry, any sort of health questions you might have. Check out stellushealth.com, located in Buffalo and Monticello here in Wright County. You can check them out, and they'll work with the neighboring hospitals too if they've got a problem if you've got a problem that's a little bit bigger. Great locations right next to Centricare and Buffalo Hospital in Monticello and Buffalo respectively. Check them out at stellushealth.com. Hey, one big thing wanted to get into before we get to our interview with Elena, and that's the situation at St. Michael's Cinema. So there's a lot going on online, and it's kind of making the news now. Fox 9, I believe, has done a story on our local theater, and Shelley and the gang over there are kind of dealing with a little bit of a, for lack of a better term, a snafu, and feel just horrible for them because it does put them in a financial lurch. But check it out at the St. Michael Cinema website or check their social media channels. What they're asking is if you've been to the theater in the past year, so basically all of 2024, check your accounts and see if your tickets, there was a little bit of situation with the online ticketing situation. If you ordered tickets online, or even if you came in and charged by credit card, the company that they used basically to settle the transactions with the credit card company. So basically what happens is you charge your card, your bank agrees to work through a company, basically various number of companies that run credit card processing, and then pay the card holder. So if you're a Chase card holder, for example, they agree to take money from your account, pay Chase, and pay the transaction for the tickets. Well, something happened in between there, and like I said, the cinema is right now kind of working without a net and looking at a big financial loss because of a situation between them and the company that they were using. They're trying to recuperate funds by reaching out to people's better nature. So check your email or check the website. You can put your email in, and if you ordered tickets online, they'll run your email and they'll say, hey, you ordered tickets for the latest, Pixar movie, or you were there for, a screening that came out in the summer, and you can run that through them, and you can settle up with them, because what happens is you essentially haven't been charged. Those tickets were run through your bank and credit card company, and the credit company that is supposed to service the cinema never corresponded. And so say your tickets were $25, that $25 was never moved. So check your statements, try to jog your memory, see if you went to the theater for a show. There were some pretty good movies out there last summer. Make sure that those did show up on your statement and that you did pay them. Like I said, if you need more information, go over to the cinema website. There's a nice video from Shelly and the crew over there that can kind of walk you through it. But there is a system to run you through to see if your tickets went through. So want to help our cinema. We don't want to see them, struggle this way. It's been cool to have our theater back. For those of you that remember, the theater sat empty for quite a while, and there was even talk of a hardware or furniture store going in that area for a while, and even a church. Obviously, those things didn't come to fruition through one reason or another, and a group did find a way to reinvest in the theater, in the bar, in the restaurant. Trivia there on Tuesday nights. There's poker there. You can watch games there. Even live casts of some of the St. Michael events that have made the state tournament have been on the big screen there. And that's an important community resource for us, and we wish those guys well. And we hope that everything works out for them and that can move forward. So that out. And then we always push our meat raffles. Check out a couple of different places, including Big Al's in downtown St. Michael. They're having a meat raffle and doing the horse races on Saturday at 3 o'clock. And of course, next weekend is prom, and for both Rogers and St. Michael Albertville. So check those out. Grand March happening around 4 o'clock, I believe, at the gymnasium at St. Michael Albertville High School. I will be there, so taking pictures. So if you see me, pop over, say hi. Would be happy to talk to you and tell me if you've been listening to the podcast, like the website, whatever. We are super excited about that. And of course, prom means Selfie Company. Like I said, normally we're at Selfie Company. Not today. Decided to give Sam a week off. So, but cool how I have this opportunity to catch up with Elena and talk about the children's theater. But hey, back to Selfie Company. Check them out. They're starting this weekend already with prom photo shoots. So if you've got your dress and stuff like that and want to do it early, you can do that. Or next Saturday before all the grand marching and dinnering and dancing and all that stuff, you can get some time at the Selfie Company with your friends and not worry about the weather, and get some photos done there with any of their various sets, including local artists. And you've got the couch from Friends and the Friends background. You've got some 90s and 80s backgrounds. You've got a bathtub if you want to hop in the bathtub, but some fun stuff there at Selfie Company. We also want to thank our Deerwood Bank friends. Nick, of course, always my sidekick and friend here on the show. Just doing great stuff. They're in the running for one of the top places to work, according to the Minneapolis Star Tribune, or Minnesota Star Tribune now. I want to give them proper credit there. But and I can tell you the staff over there is just sensational. We're super happy to have them as a podcast sponsor. So check out Deerwood Bank and deerwoodbank.com. All right. Wanted to get that news item out again. St. Michael Cinema, help out our local cinema and make sure that's all good. One final news item, guys. Construction is happening and construction season is here. Ground has been broken over there on the County Road 38, 138 area. Costco is, the land is being prepped for that. So that is underway, which means the road work is going to be soon behind right there in that Emma Crumby's McIver intersection area. Going to see a series of roundabouts on that road. Going to see some widening there with some addition of shoulders, a turn lane but for the local businesses, and then the roundabouts at the McIver intersection, and of course the intersection that services both Emma Crumby's and the Tea Hive and the dance studio, as well as the cemetery right there, St. Albert Cemetery. So look for that to be starting soon. It looks like they've flagged some of that out. We'll see some signs in that area for when that's going to happen later this spring, early summer. But definitely going to see some road construction on that County Road 138 area. And that is on the northeast side of 94 there in Albertville off the exit. And of course, the Mind the Gap project is in full swing. Looks like it's pretty smooth sailing through there most times, but whenever there's a crash or fender bender or anything like that, it's really going to get backed up, especially going westbound. So please be patient. Keep that in mind as you're coming up 94, as you're heading through that St. Michael exit, because it's going to slow down at Albertville, especially during the rushes on Thursday and Fridays. So hang in there. We'll get through it. Little pain, long-term gain kind of stuff, and this should be the end of some of of all this construction on Interstate 94. So once we get through that, should be smooth sailing out west, right? I'm sure we'll still see some slowdowns, but no big deal. All right. Thanks so much for hearing my 15-minute spiel. Again, thank you to all our sponsors. Want to throw in Peggy Shum, CPS. Peggy's been a longtime sponsor of the website and, of course, now the podcast. Here on our getting into our third month of doing this NWCT podcast. Of course, April 15th is in the rearview mirror, but if you got that extension and you still need to get that done, contact Peggy. They'll get it done for you. Also, keep in mind those real estate statements, stuff like that are coming out. She can work on some of those discounts for you or tax breaks and things like that. Peggy Shum is at cpapss.com, and you can call them too. They are located right in downtown St. Michael, very close to Cub Foods and the new Chipotle and Starbucks. Just great people there, and we're proud to have them as a sponsor as well. All right, we're going to get into our interview with Elena, and we will see you in studio next week. Thanks, everybody. All right. Hey, Elena, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Good. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Me too.
Um, I'm glad you could join me and talk about this. This is super exciting. So, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're homeschooled, but you live in the Otsego community?
I live in Albertville.
Okay.
Mhm.
What grade equivalency would you be then? Would you be like a sophomore, junior?
I'm a high school senior.
You're a high school
Hmm.
senior? Cool.
Yep. Yeah.
So before we get into what you're doing now, what are your plans for the future? What are you thinking?
So I'm actually committing to AMDA, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York City for the fall. So that's super exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did that connection come about?
Well, I've known kind of about it in the last couple of years, and then I met a couple alumni and I learned more about it while I was doing the whole college search thing. And it just seemed like the right fit for me because I'm actually graduating with my associate's degree from the University of Northwestern St. Paul in the spring.
Ah, Cool.
because I've been able to do dual enrollment classes. So I'm graduating high school with my associates at the same time.
Oh,
So
that is
yeah,
so cool. Yeah, PSEO, what an awesome thing.
seriously.
Um, well, tell me how you got into performing
Yeah.
before we kind of get into the show you've got coming up.
Yeah, so my family is a very musical family, and my sisters and I have always been singing and dancing like around the house when we were little and reenacting movie musicals that we had watched. And so it seemed like the right fit for my mom to put us into a show. The first show I ever did with my sisters, or at all, was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat at SOAR Regional Arts, which is right here in this area.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we got our start, and then took a break for a little while after doing a few shows. And then in 2018, I've been doing theater pretty consistently after coming back to SOAR. And I still do stuff at SOAR occasionally. And yeah, they've been a really good um, like launch pad, I guess, for the future.
Yeah. We love SOAR. My daughter did a couple shows. She did Little Mermaid and Lion King, so
Yeah.
back in those days.
Yeah. I think I saw Lion King, a couple friends
It
in. Yeah.
they did a fantastic job with it. So yeah.
Hmm.
So cool. Well, this is your first CTC show, right?
Hmm.
Children's Theater Company
Yeah.
show, and you're doing Frozen.
Yep. It's pretty exciting.
I would imagine for like kids, my kids' age and kids your kids' age, like that's huge because like you grew up with that.
Oh yeah, it's huge for everyone. Everyone coming into this project, whether it's been staff or cast or crew, everyone has been so excited just to work on this amazing story. And it's the Minnesota Regional Theater like debut for this show, I
Right.
think. So it's really a big deal, and everyone, no one's taking it lightly. Everyone is really excited about it.
And the performances are when and where.
So it's in Minneapolis at Children's Theater Company,
Yep.
and we have our first preview on April 15th. We open on April 19th and then go to June 15th. So it's a pretty
That's
long run.
that's fantastic.
There are already quite a few sold out shows, so it's selling really well. It's really exciting.
And you are what part of the cast?
I'm in the ensemble, so
Okay.
there are some teen ensemble members, some adult ensemble members, and of course our young Anna and young Elsa's. There are two of each, and they rotate. And then our adult principal actors.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me about some of the other shows that have led up to this show for you, because I know this isn't your first time on a big stage.
Yeah. So the last show I did was actually Godspell at SOAR Regional Arts.
Yep.
That was a really fun outdoor small cast show. And then before that, I did Halo It's Me at Seasons Dinner Theater in Ham Lake, which that was kind of my first like more professional production. And then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, now Children's Theater is my regional theater debut.
So the dinner theater,
Mhm.
everybody knows about Chanhassen and that deal. Ham Lake's got a cool little setting there too.
Yeah, it was really fun. I actually did that show with Chloe Sorensen, who is one of our young Elsas in this production. So, I mean, we had done Sound of Music at SOAR together, and then we did that one. That's how I heard about it, because she had done a Seasons Dinner Theater production the year before. And so I heard about it from her, and then I auditioned, and we were both in Halo It's Me together. And then now we're both doing Frozen together. So that's been kind of fun we've done a lot together.
I feel like that happens a lot. You kind of find a buddy in the theater world,
For
and
sure.
those partnerships are so important in
Yeah.
relationships. Very cool. So, obviously, we already know this is taking you to New York, which is huge. I mean, big things hoping for you there. But where else would you like this to take you? Do you want to continue performing? Do you like doing stuff behind the scenes? Where do you see it going?
Ooh, it's a great question. I have always loved performing as my number one. I'm always interested in learning new things, or I like choreographing, so maybe I'd do some of the production staff side too at some point. But for the most part, my goals and dreams are to be performing for whether it's on Broadway, on national tours, regional theaters, really, when you're a performer, work is work, and if you're getting to um, continuously like be in productions and create, that's the goal.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Growing up in this neck of the woods, I mean, it's cool. You mentioned SOAR, but there's many other avenues, right, for kids to get involved, whether it's, theater groups in your community or through your school, and
Hmm.
um, it- for you it was SOAR. What you said you grew up in a family that liked to perform. If you know a kid out there who maybe doesn't have that background, what would you encourage them to do to kind of get involved?
Yeah, I'd say really just finding any outlet for creating. So if you like performing, maybe it is auditioning for your school theater or community theater. But if you just like to create, you can do whatever. You can record videos of yourself singing and post them. Social media is a great outlet these days just for kind of being able to create something and put it out there for people to see. Maybe it's physical art. Maybe you want to record a time lapse of you drawing. I don't know. I've never been really an artist, um, but I just say find outlets for creating wherever that is or whatever that means to you.
You mentioned social media. It's such a game changer. You think about when you even first started, there wasn't a TikTok to do your
Oh,
thing, or and now you can just do the silliest stuff. So it's
yeah.
But what a, what I guess what I'm getting at is what a creative outlet and a way for some people to actually get their name out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I can't wait to see what the show looks like and I'm excited for your run. What's the plans for the rest of the summer before you head east?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I mean, this takes yeah up to June, and then in the summer I might have a couple like maybe a theater camp or something like that. But then it'll be pretty much just preparing to move and moving. Yeah. So not a whole lot going on in the summer, but maybe a theater camp here or there.
Well, don't forget to be a kid and get out and do some of those Minnesota summer things, right?
Yeah.
Before you leave us. But yeah, for sure, have fun with the show,
Thank you.
and we'll get all the information up on our websites and stuff like that. And like you said, tickets are going fast.
Hmm.
Um, are there shows where you can sing along? Because
Ooh,
that's the big thing, right? Like,
yeah. I'm not sure if they're any specifically dedicated to that, but I do know we do have school matinees, and I'm sure there will be some
Oh,
singing
sure.
along at those. I'm really excited for those.
That'll be fantastic.
Mhm.
I kid because when Wicked came out, that was
Yeah,
one of the stories was people are singing in the
yeah.
theaters and
That was a big controversy. No, I'm just kidding.
if only things were so simple now, right?
Yeah,
Awesome. So well, thank you so much, and take care,
thank
and
you.
good luck the rest of the way with school and this show. Break a leg. I hope you have
Thank
a
you
great
so
time.
much.
All
Thank you for
right.
your time.
You bet. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.